Hello, welcome to third grade Bible, part E, Life Among the Empires. So, I'm entitling this Life Among the Empires. And the reason for that is that was the reality that Judah and Israel, the two parts of the divided kingdom, faced throughout their existence. The truth was that they were not particularly large or mighty in their military strength, economic power, and they were, first of all, at the mercy of the empires, but more important, they were existing that way with the grace of God to sustain them. And that whole story is something we can't get into in great depth. But it's just, I think, vital to get some sense of the military, political, geopolitical, as people like to say nowadays, situation that these small nations faced. Now, there were a whole series of empires that held sway, that had great power in the Middle East. The Middle East, of course, is a fascinating geographical situation because it's between three continents: Africa, Asia, and Europe. And so trade routes walked through there, took camels through there, and so forth. And so it was vital to control this area. And these huge, in proportion, huge military powers controlled this Middle East area from time to time. Now, I'm just going to kind of run through these empires, not trying to get in any detail, to help you sort of get your bearings as to what's going on in this regard. First of all, there is Egypt, and Egypt has kind of gotten blocked out here because of some other situations, but it's roughly right in this area here, and I like to say it's around the corner from the main situation of the Middle East, and because of that, it had both pluses and minuses. Its pluses was that it was somewhat protected, and so it had long periods of peace, and that can lead to economic prosperity. On the other hand, because it didn't sit right astride the Middle East geographically, it never truly dominated the Middle East, perhaps as it would have liked to. Now, the next empire that rose up there's some others that we're just kind of skipping over, like the Hittites, but the Assyrian Empire became a very dominant force, and its capital was Nineveh, which was roughly right here. Um, it was in this, it dominated this Tigris Euphrates Mesopotamian area, and notice that it had power up into this part, which is sometimes called Asia Minor, and even at one time dominated Egypt. Very important, very powerful empire, and pertinent to the biblical lands, because in 722 BC, the Assyrian Empire conquered the northern kingdom of Israel, and carried off a good number of people, about 29,000 people taken into captivity, just basically left that area with no power, no real governance other than what the empire said it should be, and it was in effect the end of the northern kingdom of Israel. Now then, I'm going to take this Assyrian Empire off the map here, if I can do it without too much damage to the rest of the situation. And these two-sided tapes are not easy to deal with. And now we have a new boy in town, a new dominant force, which was the Babylonian Empire. Sometimes this is called the Neo-Babylonian Empire, because hundreds of years before there had been a Babylonian Empire. But this Babylonian Empire became very pertinent to the southern kingdom of Judah. And the Babylonian Empire rose up, especially under the leadership of Nebuchadnezzar. He started out as his father's heir, but served as the military commander, and eventually became the big cheese, the emperor of the entire empire. And Nebuchadnezzar, right in this area here, is the kingdom of Judah. And Nebuchadnezzar was kind of constantly threatening the existence of Judah. After the reign of Josiah, the last four kings of Judah were always dealing with Nebuchadnezzar. At times they managed to make a deal with Egypt to be protected by Egypt, but Egypt really wasn't up to the task for any length of time. And so there were times when the Judean kings would pay tribute to the Babylonian Empire, and then they would try to rebel and so forth. But Nebuchadnezzar, nevertheless, just in effect was conquering the nation over a period of about 20 years or so. And in that period, he carried a great many people off to Babylon, which would be in this area right here, close to the Persian Gulf. And they were leaders, they were important people. So when you took basically chopping the head off of the nation, you were leaving the nation less and less capable of governing itself. Finally, there was a total collapse, and Nebuchadnezzar conquered Judah, destroyed the city of Jerusalem, destroyed the temple, and now was the owner of that little patch of land called Judah. Well, that went on. That took place about 586 BC, about 150 years after Assyria had conquered the northern kingdom. Then the southern kingdom was also conquered. However, Babylonia, the Babylonian kingdom, did not last for a very long time. And there's a dramatic story in the book of Daniel that tells of the night when the ruler, sort of a vice regent of Babylonia, was having a party, and that very night the Medes and Persians from this area to the east came in and took over the city of Babylon, the capital, and took over the whole Babylonian empire in a very brief period of time. And then the Persians, the Medes kind of fade into the background, but the Persians totally began to dominate the whole scene. And these crosshatches are the size of the Persian Empire. Think about it. From north of India all the way to the Mediterranean Sea, somewhat above the Black Sea area, and over here in Libya. Egypt managed to maintain some independence, but I have Jerusalem penciled in right here, but it was just at the mercy of the Persians that it had a semi-autonomous, a little bit of freedom, as well as the old kingdom of Judah. And basically, they were under the power of this enormous empire of the Persians. They took over from Babylonia in 539 BC and ruled until the time of Alexander the Great. Now, Alexander the Great came from north of Greece in Macedonia, and he was the son of Philip and of Macedon, and when Philip died,